let's just get at it, right? Oh, so good. So juicy, so tender. You can't go wrong. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Traeger Grills. My name is Gerardo and this is my channel. If you're into backyard barbecue on a variety of different grills, whether it's pellet, charcoal, or electric, then please consider subscribing because that's exactly what this channel is all about. Today I'm going to be doing one of our favorite holiday recipes around my house, and that is a rack of pork. Now this is about a half of a crown roast that is beautifully Frenched across the top. You got a nice pork chop on the bottom. And we're going to be smoking that using my Traeger Pro 780 here using apple wood pellets. It's so easy to make, and trust me, this is so delicious. You've got Thanksgiving coming up, whether you've got Christmas or New Year's, whatever you celebrate over the holiday season coming up, this is a for sure great meal to make. Are you ready to get going? Let's go. All right, so here we got ourselves a 6 and a little bone of a rack of pork here. And so in a crown roast, you would normally see these. You would see probably 7 or 8 of these bones kind of on this side, tied with another one, and they're kind of turned a little bit so that they look a little bit like a crown. In this case, we've only got half. I'm not doing a full crown. I'm not feeding 13 people here. So I'm just going to do these 6 bones, 6 and a little bit bones, and going that way. And the way they end up working out is that everybody essentially gets their own little pork chop once we're done here. It's a bone-in pork chop, and you can see here, you know, that chop ends up being about that size, and you know, just works out quite nicely, and it's a nice little treat for everybody. So let's get this kind of prepped up here. The way we're going to do this, these are actually very similar to kind of pork ribs, where there is a membrane along the side here that you kind of need to take out. So I'm just going to go ahead and, just like we would on ribs, just grab the corner of it and peel it off. And now you probably don't need to take this all off. You can just score it if you'd like. It'll work out better if you do take it off. When you cut into that pork chop and people are eating through it, you don't want to eat that kind of papery, filmy flavor to it. I've asked my butcher to do this for me. You can get the whole loin here, and the meat usually goes all the way to the top, and then you would then trim these out just like you would in a prime rib. So there's not much else to do here. So to get it seasoned up, this is pretty easy for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take, in here I've got about a stick of butter, so about a 1/4 pound of butter with about a 1.5 teaspoons of minced garlic in there. This is softened butter, and then I'm going to take about a tablespoon of, this is just rosemary and thyme, that fresh rosemary and thyme that I've chopped up. I'm gonna throw it in here. It's lots of herbs, and then with a fork I'm just gonna mash it up and kind of mix it all in together. And there you have it. So really not a whole lot of work to do there. That's what you're gonna do for the butter. Then what we're going to do here for to get the rest of the rack seasoned is I'm going to kind of flip this over. I'm just going to season it with salt here. This is just coarse salt that I'm just going to kind of grind over top. And all right, so now that we've got that, the next thing is we're really just going to rub this butter on it. Time to get your hands dirty. And you're just gonna wanna kind of make sure it's kind of rubbed everywhere. Make sure you get both sides. Now this butter is going to kind of give us a baste on the meat, and it's going to be delicious. That's it. And now once you've got it all buttered up, we're going to kind of set this aside. I'm going to put it on a rack just over top of a tray, and then we're going to get our Traeger going. That's all you need to do for seasoning. Super simple, and it's going to be delicious. All right, here we go. So we've got the Traeger preheated 250 degrees. I've got my meter thermometer inserted here into the middle of this entire roast to give me that temperature right at the middle and the center. I've got it set to 145 degrees. It's going to let me know when it gets to 140 so that I can come out here and take it out and as it rests, the temperature will come up to 145 where it's safe to eat. You can see here I've also wrapped the bones in foil. That's just a little bit of look. It's really not necessary at all. It's on top of a rack and on top of a pan here, and that's just to catch some of this melting butter as it drips down, so it doesn't create a huge mess across my grill here. But again, not necessary. I suggest you do it and you can catch some of these drippings and kind of help keep your grill clean. But that's it. We're gonna throw it in here. I'm gonna close the lid. Like I said, 250 degrees. We got some apple pellets in there and we're ready to go. I'll show you once we're ready to take it out, but that's all you gotta do. Super simple. From here on, you just let the grill do the work. All right, so we're about halfway through. I'm just gonna go ahead and give this a little spin. And then, now that we got it there, and I'm gonna turn this up to 350 degrees and get that top nice and browned, and we're gonna be ready to go probably in about 45 minutes or so. All right, so I've got my notice here that we're at 140 degrees, so we're gonna take these out of here right away. As you can see, I've taken it off the rack and just put it directly on the grill grates. That's just to get that extra little bit of crispness, but you can see nicely colored all the way around. We're gonna take this out of here and let it rest for about 10-15 minutes, and then I'm gonna give her a slice and have a taste. I'll show you when we're ready to do that. All right, here we go. So now we let this rest for about 15 minutes or so. As you can see, my rack's gotten considerably smaller because, well, family's gotta eat and they're hungry. So I did cut it up a little bit here. You can see at 140 degrees, once you let it rest for about 10 to 15 minutes or so, it does continue to cook a little bit. So the internal on this is about 145 and it looks absolutely perfect. I mean, let's just get at it, right? Oh, so good. The little bits of fat, like fat cap on top that was on here, when we set it up to 400 degrees, it really just crisps that up and it's like, just like a nice little crackling. Just gonna cut that off a little bit. So juicy, so tender. Hopefully you can see through here, you can see some of that smoke that's kind of gone in through there. Very light smoke, not crazy. Obviously you can keep it cooking at 250 degrees all the way through to 145 degrees internal, and that'll be perfect as well. It'll just get a lot more smoky. I did about halfway through with smoke and then finished it off at 350 degrees and then kind of bumped her up to 400 at the very end here just so that we can crisp up the top. Absolutely delicious. It looks stunning. When you serve this on a plate, serve it with some mashed potatoes, maybe some Brussels sprouts. Absolutely perfect. Looks stunning. Guarantee you, this is one absolutely delicious holiday dinner. Maybe not even holidays, just make it for dinner. Absolutely good. You can't go wrong. It's just all super easy to make. Some butter, some herbs, a little bit of salt, and into the smoker. The smoker does most of the work for you. Well, that's all I got for you today. If you like what you saw, make sure you hit the like button. If you want to see some more, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any content. Until next time, I'll catch you in the next G-Rod Grills. I'm gonna go join my family and eat some pork rack.